Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another show of Fuente and Meerapfel present Meet the Professor. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our show. We hope you're having a wonderful Sunday, and today we have a very special guest for you. Somebody who's an expert at pairings, the queen of the leaf. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Danays Leon. Danays, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It feels, I'm very honored, but besides that, it feels a little bit awkward. Every Sunday, I'm on the other side, just giving hearts and putting comments. Now to be on this side, right? It's something unexpected, really. Thank you so much.
Today you're our hearts, and you're on this side of the screen, and everybody's sending you hearts from the other side. We're very blessed to have you on. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Danays Leon, Professor.
Welcome, Danays.
And
Thank you so much.
Fuente.
Hello, Cynthia. Thank you.
Hello, Danays. Welcome to our show, Meet the Professor. We're so excited to have you today.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's a great honor, but I cannot help feeling a little bit nervous. It's normal, right?
Oh, listen, when we do things that we love, it's normal. I'm sure that every time Arturo Sandoval goes on stage and plays his trumpet, he gets those butterflies. That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
So Danays.
Hello, happy Sunday.
First things first, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us where you got the passion for cigars, and please tell us about how that led into pairings. We know that you're an incredibly knowledgeable person about wines and different types of spirits. We want to hear more. Everybody out there wants to hear more. Please.
Thank you so much once more for the invitation. And I am Cuban. Right now I'm living in Tenerife, but I like to go back in years just for you to understand how this passion for cigars comes from. My father used to smoke cigars, not to produce cigars, but to smoke cigars. And that's something that we keep in our memory, right? It's like the smell of grandmother's soup or cookies or things like that. Then in 1998, I went to live to Canada, and there I lived for 7 years. So I had a very, very active social life. One of the things that we did sometimes with after dinners and some was just to smoke cigars, and that brought to my mind the memories of my childhood and the smoke of my father's cigars. And when I returned back to Cuba 7 years after that, then I started wanting to know a little bit more about it, because for me it was not only interested the fact of smoking, but what was inside, why the smell, why the taste. And then I took the course of sommelier. And after I graduated as a sommelier, then I just got the course of Habano sommelier, and is part of these formation courses just the topic of pairings. So there came this pairing thing, and I really loved that. I enjoy very much learning about wines and spirits, but the part of cigars. What is a Habano sommelier course for me was amazing. And after that, I was combining at the same time. I was alternating receiving classes as a student and being a professor at the hospitality school in Havana. And all the things that I used to do at the moment was just to prepare private tastings and pairings for clients. And it was kind of the practice, right, for what I was learning. And there is something, I think that this world, once catches you, you cannot get out of it. So it's forever. So what
I
we can
agree.
do is just to increase little by little the knowledge and the experiences, but it's something to enjoy. It's something to enjoy and to feel good and to live the experience, like I like to say. And I don't know if you want me to continue with the story, because that's not all. After I finished the Havana sommelier, well, for some reasons I got out of Cuba. Not It's not definite, because um, I return back to Europe. I go back again. I'd stay some time there. But being in Romania in January, I got a call from the association, specifically from Jamir, just proposing for me to be the ambassador of the International Association of Cigar Sommeliers in Europe and the certified instructor. In order for me to be that, I had to take a course of Master Cigar Sommelier in Dominican Republic. So I went there in February prior to the festival, and I took that course. And since then, I have been learning and working on just communicating all this knowledge and just to bring together people into this art, like I like to call, which is pairing and enjoyment. If was that too long?
No, listen, I'm sorry. I got totally disconnected. Jeremiah, is everybody hearing me here? Where's Carlito?
Yeah, don't worry. You're all good. Ready to
Okay.
roll. Danays was just explaining how she got into the cigar side, how she became a cigar sommelier. It's an incredible story, and we want to hear more, Danays.
Of course, she and also she is actually the ambassador for Europe for the International Association of Cigar Sommeliers. And I have to say that I've been following her for a while, and she got me back connected to a good friend of mine in Cuba, which is Umelio Espino. And now I've been talking to Umelio every couple of weeks. So tomorrow is my phone call, but she was on the show with Edward Sakarian the other day. She has Carlito on the show. She had me on the show. She's had Cynthia on the show. I think that you should be on the show, Jeremiah, but I don't know if she wants to
You're
invite
the
you.
only one. I'm missing.
It would be an honor.
Listen, Danays, you in a short time have had a very fascinating career. You're passionate, your world travel, eres cubana, that helps a lot. So you have it like Carlito and me in the blood. Jeremiah gets it, his genes from another place, which is Cameroon, that has, as we always know, the what I consider the best rapper in the world. But you've had an extraordinary life, and you have been teaching and showing people about pairings. And like I said previous to the show, I did the show with you with the people of China. And I know that you and Cynthia are very dynamic women in the industry, that, you know, you love your wine, you love your bourbons, you love your cigars. So I know that you and Cynthia has synced in and have a very good relationship. So what's your impression of what Cynthia, as she's been baptized the cigar queen, has brought to women in the industry?
Well, first of all, I like to use a word that I used in my smoke and talk when I had her as a guest, special and honored guest, and it was pioneer, because I have been reading and I have been getting some information of about the industry, things that I did not live, of course, because either I was very young or I was in Cuba, and then I didn't have access to all the information in that sense. And I read in one there was one panel organized by Cigar Aficionado and she was invited to that panel. And I just read everything that was talked there, and I know at the time that Cynthia got into the industry, there were not so many women. So she can be considered a pioneer in this sense. And after that, I have seen her in pictures and videos in all the trade shows in everywhere. So I asked her, how do you do it just to be a mother, just to work, to be here, to be there, because she's very, very active. So for me, that's is an example, is to follow. And on top of that, she always has a smile, a big smile. By the way, Fuente family is very well known by their cigars, but they should be also well known by their smiles. Everybody has a great smile. I don't know how they make it, but it's very spontaneous and it's very nice. But I think that Cynthia, going back to this, I think she's is somebody that people, maybe if they don't know on some other women, they should just approach and know a little bit more about her history in the industry, because sometimes we do things, or people, they do things, and from the back, in this case, well, it's not exactly the case of Cynthia because she's very well involved in all the public scenarios, but people, it's good for people to know what women have done in this industry, and she's a great example. I don't know, maybe if
Thank you
she's
very much. Thank
there,
you.
probably it will be easier for her to tell how has been, and like this, always with that smile and with that, just conveying that uh, uh, feeling that everything is going to be okay, that everything is fine. And I know that it's not always like this, because this,
No.
like, has a lot of probably sleepless nights and problems and things, which is normal in the business. But
Of course.
that strength, that energy that you have, I think is very important, and I think it has been a very valuable asset for your family and for your company.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think a lot of it goes back to our ancestors. You know, my mother Anna and my father Don Carlo, and the example that they always showed us. My grandparents. I mean, my brother Carlos and my brother Ricky and I were always surrounded by love. So I feel that that was instilled in our souls. And so it's a natural thing. And even though there's been so many trials and tribulations that we have faced through all of our years, we, like my father always said, there is no. It's just like how are we going to move forward? And there's always a way to find something in life, no matter what, to be grateful for and to count your blessings. So I appreciate it. And I have to tell you, every show has been so wonderful, but today for me, this is one of like the most exciting Sundays to have you share with us. And you're a
Thank you.
woman that I look at, and I have learned so much from you in this short time that I've had the opportunity to be able to meet you. And I was so honored to be part of your podcast. And I feel that you have been such a wonderful example to so many women in the industry because of your knowledge. It's like you're coaching the world, because nowadays so many people want the education, they want the knowledge, and you're giving them the knowledge. If it's about the cigars that you love so much, the leaf, that then you're comparing it to the different pairings, whether it be coffee or teas or wines or bourbons, you're showing the world. And I think that it's such a beautiful thing that, and besides that, to have, because there's so many women in the industry from way back until now, but there's different avenues, like the women that were supportive avenue for the men, and now women are playing such a predominant role in decision making and so forth. But to be a woman and to have the whole success story to be complete, that's all, to be authentic, to have that love. And I wanted to ask you, like, what was it? Like you said that your father smoked cigars. So can you remember your first real experience, or like the person that really inspired you? to learn more about the cigars and the person that maybe you inspired? Because I believe that cigars are like a new journey. And like what you said, when you start this journey, there's no leaving it because it's like a world that captures you. And there might be somebody that brought you into it, and there might be somebody that you really influenced. Could you maybe express that? Is there people that come to mind or examples?
Well, I think that there were a lot of people, or there are a lot of people that, in a way or the other one, they had influenced my life in this sense. Professors, for instance, in Cuba. The thing is that when I started this sommelier course, before becoming Havana sommelier, I just got into all these groups, professional groups. There are in Havana, Balcón del Habano, and many other ones. There is a group for women, just wine lovers and things like that. And in those contexts, I started getting this sense, and I started smoking again after I returned to Cuba. And when I listen to some of the professors, for instance, I have to mention Fernando Fernandez, which was my professor in the sommelier course and the Havana sommelier course, with so much passion. That's something that he transmitted to me. But also I had another professor that when I heard the first conference that he had from him, I got like, it's something. Well, my year paper was based on his conference because I got fascinated with what he said. And his name is Luis Orinas. And he's very knowledgeable, and I fell in love with all the science behind the cigars and the tannins and all that. It was so profound. It was exactly what I was looking for. Why this taste like this? Why smell like that?
Right. Oh, that's fantastic. That's beautiful.
Yes. And I just mentioned two. There are other ones that I don't want anybody to feel bad, right?
No, but there's always like somebody, like somebody that you can remember that brought you into the world, and that you always like take them with you on your journey. And that's why I asked if there was like one particular person that brings it to you. So thank you for sharing that.
Yes, that's very important. I mentioned Luis Orinas, and because of what he made or moved in me, I just wrote an article it's called The Organoleptics of the Aged or the Añejados in the case of Habanos, right? Because that was so fascinating. And I think it's important when you are a professor just to be able to convey that passion. And also you asked me who I have influenced. I believe that some students, some of them, they let you know that, and that's very rewarding when they tell you. Some of them you never know, and some of them they tell you many years after. But just the fact that what I do it with all my heart, for me is enough.
So do I. No, for sure. Me too. I feel the same. If it comes from the heart, that's the most important thing. But it's true. And when you hear later on that like one note or somebody that you inspired, that you changed their life, or that you would have never imagined that maybe they would have become a wine sommelier because of your experience, because of your influence, or what have you. I personally, my daughter Christina is a chef, and I tell her you should become a wine sommelier. And even a cigar sommelier. I personally I'm inspired by you, and I would love to look into that and study more to be able to learn more, because there's so much to learn. There's so much to learn.
Indeed, every day, and from everybody. And I think that in the case of Christina, from my perspective, I always say chefs, they can have the most complete formation or preparation in this sense, because they know the food, and all this is experience. So you not only smoke cigars, but you can go and just have a dinner, and then you have a good wine, and after the dinner, then you want to smoke a cigar, and then you want to have a drink. So it's the whole thing. So she has she has what we call the works. She has the whole package.
Yes, it is. And like Alito says, you know what? When they ask Alito, what do you do like on your hobby time, like your personal time? And he says, we love gathering with our friends, our family, our colleagues, and to enjoy a wonderful dinner and enjoy wonderful wines, enjoy our cigars. So that's like such to bring everybody together. Those are the things that bring everybody together. Right, Calito? And Jeremiah, how many wonderful dinners have we had? We can't hear you. You're on mute, Calito.
Okay, right now, okay.
Sorry.
No wonder nobody paid attention to me. But Danays, I have a question. I'm not a chef, but I'm a big eater. Do I have any chance? I'm a big eater. Does that give me any hope of learning?
Cigars are hard, and putting everything is like being a chef.
I mentioned that I'm not a chef. I didn't study, culinary skills, but I'm a big, big, big eater. Does that include me? Do I have a chance to learn more in life? I love to taste things. I love to smell.
You do a lot of tasting.
I cannot leave my house without a half a bottle of cologne.
That's true.
I think that's the old Cubano in me, My grandfather, with the canoe or the Old Spice, just with my grandfather in the morning when I used to press my cheek against his, that smell, my earliest memories. I guess you're so right. There's so much as memories. We are, how we're brought up and so forth. And it's very nice. But I really appreciate the beautiful words you said about my little sister or my younger sister. But one thing, Danays, I have to tell you, you cannot find a better, more giving mother.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's very wonderful.
She reminds me so much of my mom.
Yes.
Beautiful. But she always have time for the kids, for the neighbor. Her house is full of 50 kids all the time. She's got, she got her big car. She put them in the back and the front. I'm sure some in the trunk. She just like the house. And it reminds me of my mother so much.
Yes.
And she has to photograph everything. And I didn't get along with my sister for many years because I had to get to work. I had to do something. I was always in a hurry. No, let's take a family picture. I'm not in most of those pictures, but I just didn't have the patience. But I look back now and I tell Cynthia, just like mom, thank God you captured all those beautiful moments. She's amazing. I get emotional thinking about her. I love her.
Last night was thank you. And I love you too, brother. And thank you. I know that in through all the years, like my father said, when you're working and your children are young and you're trying to do everything, but so you kind of lose focus. But the focus always comes back more emotional and we feel things more in depth. But like last night was Halloween and I set up all my stuff out there and all the neighborhood kids came and I have all these skulls and everything's making noise and the kids just loved all my things. And then I said, this is my mother. My mother used to do this for us. So it goes back to, again, from our teachings. And I'm very, very blessed. I am. So
that's very nice. That's very nice.
So let's talk a little bit, if we can, and thank you, Carita, for the beautiful words. It touches my heart. Talking about like gatherings and dinners and everything. Every time I can think of like being with Jeremiah, like when we're in Germany or in Belgium or what have you, it's always around, even with his father, Richard, and his mother, Jeanette, it was always around family and dinners and wines and so forth. So I know that you really love your wines. Maybe we could touch base a little bit on the different pairings that we love that goes with our cigars. There's so many different pairings, but when you come to everybody it's just about the mood and it's about preference. But can you talk just a little bit about maybe some of your favorite pairings, and then maybe Jeremiah can share some of his too, because I know how much he loves wines with cigars.
Yes, of course. And I like to start explaining something, and that has to do with the philosophy of the cigar sommeliers. For us, this is the center. This is the main figure. So everything that we prepare goes around this. So
Yes, I
it's not
agree.
like I have a drink and then I'm gonna smoke. No, this is the star of the show,
It is.
and
I
then
agree. I have so many.
this is the star of the show around this. So the it's important to explain that before we prepare ourselves for a pairing or we want to design a pairing, it's important to know the cigar. I always suggest people to smoke the cigar first without any alcoholic drinks or teas or coffees, just water, because you need to discover the cigar. You need to know how it evolves, how it goes from one third to the other one. And once you know the cigar, then you and knowing also the drinks, then you can think, okay, because I just I don't want to forget that the cigar we divide in thirds, and you know about cigars a lot more than me, and you know that they evolve as we smoke, and the first third has some notes to offer different from the second third and the third one. And then based on these notes, based on this strength that you can feel, the intensity, the aromas, the flavors, then you can find the appropriate drink for each third. So usually when we start with a cigar, the first third is the mildest, right? We are just starting the cigar. And then if we are going to have three different drinks, we try to get one drink that goes with that, with the intensity and the power of this first third. So if I have, let's say, two bourbons or two whiskeys, or maybe I can just combine a rum, whiskey, bourbon, different ones. It doesn't have to be all rums or all whiskeys or all bourbons or any other drinks. Um, I have to know, first of all, the notes, the flavor that this drink can give, and also the content of alcohol, because that's very important
Right.
thing.
Oh,
So
very
if I
true. Yes,
start, for
yes,
instance,
yes.
that's very important. Because, for instance, today I brought this. This is what I had at hand here. So I'm just spending some days here. So I don't have everything, but I just
Right,
got
right.
this at hand. And for I have this whiskey, Japanese whiskey, which is
Oh,
single
yes,
grain, right?
yes, yes. I heard that's really
I
good.
just okay. This is a single grain. It's 43% alcohol, but it's very refined. It's very balanced. It's very aromatic. And I had this for the first third of this cigar. And then I let for the second one this Labroix, which is only 40% alcohol. But why? This is 43%, but this one is 40, but this is a peaty whiskey, right? With a very intense notes. So in this case, there is a balance. But if I'm going to have, let's say, a rum, I cannot have in the first third one rum, which is 40%, and then in the second one which is 38% or 37%. So it should be the other way around. Just specifically in this case, because you know the drinks, because you know the notes, you know how powerful they are, and I know that this can be go very well with the first third, and the other one, the Scotch, goes well with the second one. Let's say that I have, for instance, three rums. I will talk about Cuban rums because I love
Yes,
Cuban
Cuban
rums.
rums, absolutely. Yes, we love Cuban rums.
I may just have three Cuban rums. For instance, if I have one rum from Santiago, which is Santiago Añejo, it's called, is 38% alcohol. It's a very nice rum, but I would just pair the first third with this rum. And then for the second third, I would have, it could be Santiago 11 years old, which is, it has a period of aging a lot longer. It's a more refined rum. Or I could have any other rum from Havana Club, which is 40% alcohol, for instance. If I have a 7 years, I will pair 7 years with the second. And if I had to pair the third with a rum, then I would choose, let's say, 15 years old. Why? Because the aging, it, not only in rum, but also in bourbon, just contributes to the complexity
Right.
and to the notes and to to the intensity of the rum. You may have two different rums, 40% alcohol, but if one is 15 years old and the other one is 7 years old, probably when you drink the 15 years old, you will get it in the mouth and you will say, but it's very smooth. It's very smooth,
Right.
but don't get confused with the smoothness, right? That is because it's round, it's balanced because of the time that has been in the barrel, right? But it's very complex. So it takes time just to know the drinks and to pair. This is very roughly, very general, but I would like our friends just to, or I encourage our friends just to start trying different things. One aspect which is very important in all this is water. When we are going to
Right.
go from one third to the other one, or from one drink to the other one, it's always good to cleanse the palate. So water plays a very important role as a cleansing element, but also to hydrate our bodies. We all know that smoking cigars, we can bring a little bit of dehydration and alcohol too. So it's always
Right.
good just for a health issue to keep ourselves hydrated, besides cleansing the palate, which will allow us or our taste buds to improve the perception of the drinks that we're having. Let's say that after this, I can just, I don't want to have any other alcoholic drink, but I can finish with, if I want to keep my spirit up, I can just
Right.
finish with
And keep
espresso.
smoking. Right. Right. Espresso. Sure. That's where Jose comes in.
Exactly.
He loves his coffee with his cigars.
Listen,
I understand that. Well,
Danays,
I love coffee.
Do you recommend sparkling water or still water for cleansing the palate?
Okay. Okay. Let's say I would like to set an example. Let's say that we had a nice dinner or a nice lunch, but it was kind of spicy or very, rich in terms of flavors and all. And I will smoke after that. I would suggest to cleanse our palate with sparkling water, because just the fact of this, the carbonated drink will help refreshing the palate, but also cleansing. And then we might be ready to start smoking and drinking any other. If it is only for the transition between one drink and the other one, can be just plain water or still or flat, as some people call, right? And at the end, it all depends, because there are different type of smokers or different type of people who likes to feel different sensations. Let's say that at the end you do not want, because usually we say, okay, if it's like food, it's like wines, the intensity goes in crescendo, right? But if you don't want to finish your third with something so high, so intense, so powerful, and you feel that you need something just to refresh, then you can just change for another drink. Let's say that you can have, even though it's always recommended champagne for the first third with mild or mild to medium cigars, you can have at the end in the third if you want to refresh your palate, if you want to just lower down the intensity of the sensations and perceptions, you could have a champagne, right? Don't forget, I said that usually it's recommended with the first third, but in this case, it all depends. Some people, they just like to go or to feel these powerful sensations just going up and up. But if you want just to relax or just give you a rest to your taste buds, just try to find something less, let's say, not aggressive, but less intense. You can also have something a little bit sweeter, not too much. We never recommend to have very sweet things, because sugar can be just mask, the perception of the smoke. And we cannot forget that the idea of all this is to make the smoke more enjoyable. So the pairing comes when the word says there is a marriage, there is one product enhances the other one, but not just let's say that overpowered the other one. In that case, we do not consider there is pairing. Though this is just a personal thing. Our function here, our the way we see it is just we like to give people the elements to make the experience more enjoyable. We don't say that this has to be like this. We just have certain knowledge and then we just recommend things. I don't know if I answer. I can do a lot of things at the same time, maybe not in a very good order.
Nice. Let me ask you a question. You know that the role of a woman, especially smoking and being a professional sommelier like yourself. So I know you have many shows, you've done a lot of events, a lot of teachings on this. Has there been a time, there's always somebody in the audience that thinks they know more than me, Carlito, Jeremiah, Cynthia, and everybody out there. Have you faced somebody that's been hard on you, not agreeing with you, and how have you handled that? Because I think that's very important for a lot of people out there, especially women that sometimes really get clobbered, sometimes, but even with women and men sometimes. So can you tell us one of your experience that was kind of hard for you and how you handle it?
Jose, I don't know if I have been the luckiest in the world, but I cannot recall any experience like that. So difficult moments, and when we have a person that disagrees with our ideas or concepts or principles, that's something that happens all the time, right? But I have never felt it's because I'm a woman. And the most beautiful thing in this is that if you know what you're talking about, then you have the elements to explain. We have to be conscious. We have to be conscious when we know and when we don't know something. If somebody tells me something about any topic that I don't know, I respect that because I don't know all. I'm learning every day. We all learn every day, no matter how much we have studied, no matter how much or how long we have been in one industry or one work, or we learn every day and we learn from everybody. But in my case, I have to say that I feel myself that I have been respected all the time. In Cuba, as a professor, within this smokers or Habano sommelier contest, all the time I receive good appreciation and respect. Fortunately, not unfortunately. So, but that doesn't mean that I don't know that happens. That happens. And then that comes the point in which I consider that us women in this industry as smokers, not only the ones who are just directly involved in the industry as working, but as smokers, we need to have a certain position and knowledge. And I think that the base of the respect in this sense is knowledge and respect others too. I don't know if I have been very lucky in that sense.
Well, you're lucky because I've done a lot of seminars and I get clobbered all the time. So you just have to
No, I know.
hold your own. There was a question.
No, but
No, continue, Danays.
no, I'm sorry. I just want to clarify something. When I said is that we always in life, we always find somebody who does not agree with us in something. But what I said is that I do not consider that happen. It happens some point because I'm a woman and somebody wanted just to go against my opinion. I haven't felt that, not really. Now, different opinions, different things, yes, of course, that always happens. And the other thing is that when I do not agree with something, I'm the first one to say, okay, I'm sorry, but I think otherwise, right?
There's a question that I would like to ask Cynthia and you. Eventually, the two of you will meet. So I want to know what cigar Cynthia's going to smoke that day and what bourbon she's going to have. And what cigar is Danays going to have that day? And what drink is she going to have? So, Cynthia, you go first.
Yeah, that's wonderful. In whatever pairing we do or whatever we do, it's going to be absolutely wonderful. And I look so forward to that day. I imagine that like you had mentioned first, that the cigar should stand on its own. That a cigar should be so wonderful that it really doesn't need any pairing at all. And when I think of a cigar like that, because the pairings are like they're a complement to the cigar, as you mentioned. But I honestly, and it's not because we're on the show, I believe that a Don Carlos with the Cameroon wrapper and that sweetness stands on its own. So I can imagine you and I enjoying a Don Carlos Personal Reserve in honor of my father, Carlos Fuente. And I would love to enjoy a beautiful bottle of wine with you. A bottle from someplace in Europe. I know that Jeremiah loves French wines and all the wines from Europe. I believe that you and I can enjoy a beautiful bottle of wine and a Don Carlos cigar. As for today, what I decided to I went back and forth because I know you really enjoy wines, but I thought that I was going to do. I brought it out in your honor today. I have this Basil Hayden, and it's a rye, and I just received it recently for my birthday. It's a 10-year, and it's a straight Kentucky straight rye bourbon, and I have the which I'm going to smoke as soon as we finish out after the show outside. But this is a Queen Bee, and it's an Ecuadorian sun-grown wrapper. And I feel that this wrapper, because of the fullness and it just pairs very well with the ryes. Because like with the pairings, there could be parallel pairings, there could be contrast pairings, and it just all depends.
Exactly.
For me this afternoon, I wanted to and this is what, and I have this beautiful rock glass that a friend gave me as
Nice.
well. And I'm drinking it neat because I know that you had said that it's important so that you could really appreciate the flavors, to try it first neat. And then maybe depending
Yes.
on the time of the year, that if it's a summer, maybe an ice ball, but drinking it neat, you can prepare really enjoy the flavors. But that's what I'm enjoying today. But nevertheless, that's what I can envision. A beautiful bottle of wine, a wonderful dinner, and a Don Carlos cigar with a Cameroon wrapper for that.
That is great.
And how about you?
Thank you so much.
She's got-
That's beautiful.
Okay, she's got to tell what she's thinking. Okay, go. And then you got it. What do you envision for our cigar and our
No, I just have to say that, you know, I was so concerned because of traveling and everything and being locked down. I don't have to go to Tenerife to learn about pairings. I just got to go back to Tampa and be with my baby sister.
Oh,
Amazing. But Danays, I have a question. I have an observation and a question.
she needed to answer her question first from Jose.
But 1 second, please, if you don't mind.
Okay, all right, okay.
You guys have thrown me in the back office or whatever called the backstage. Give me a chance. I'm so excited that Danays is on the show.
Me
Danays,
too. We all are.
Danays, you know, Cynthia, you mentioned the sweetness of the Cameroon and so forth. I learned maybe 35, 40 years ago. I always thought that if you drink something sweet to pair with a cigar, it will bring the sweetness out. I never forget, we were at 5. It was like, you know, we had like an 8-course meal. We had a tasting with every meal, and there was the head of the Scotch and Whiskey President Association of Tasting and everything was present. He's a good friend of mine. He loves cigars, and in between one of the cigars and pairing and so forth, they had different drinks, and one was sweet. It happened to be sweet, and I don't know why the chef picked it. And I was getting ready to light a Cameroon cigar. It was actually a short story because one of those intermission things.
Okay.
And it was Dr. Rothberg. He said, Carlito, don't drink that drink. It's sweet. It will kill the taste of cigar. I go, no, why would it? It's impossible. I took a puff of the short story. I got the richness, the sweetness, but also got like, you know, little spices and pepper and everything. The minute I tasted the sweet drink, everything became mute. All the flavors went away. And that the nice I learned at a very, so thanks for remembering me, reminding me of that. But I have a question. Growing up, I always was told that wine was during the meal. Wine was designed and made to help the digestion. Wine was during the meal. And after the meal was a spirit, a rum, and a cigar, a cognac and a cigar. It was it was a spirit and a cigar. I know that the world has changed. There's no, you compare a cigar with anything. I love it with wines. But back when I was growing up, I was always taught differently. And I want you to talk about how the world has changed and how you mentioned it's so individualistic. It's what you like. And there's nothing wrong with pairing a cigar with something that enhances your experience. It's also personal. So I'd like you to touch on that because I did learn that there's no, actually what could you enjoy with a cigar? What is it that you like? And I think that's very important.
So
you got
I don't know if I heard correctly. But I'm sorry?
That you have 2 questions to answer.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I heard correctly.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. It's a
okay. So if I understood well, it's true that probably many years ago we thought of a cigar. Probably you thought of a whiskey or just cognac, which is a great spirit, to pair with cigars. Is amazing, and I really love it. But I believe that precisely all this knowledge and all these courses and different institutions providing information and formation for people, they just widen the scope and they have opened new possibilities. And I believe that in that case, the association, the International Association of Cigar Sommeliers, plays a very important role because it's exactly that. We want to tell people the different options they may have so they can make their smoke more enjoyable, and also trying to pair good products. Usually the word gourmet is used, and I think that we play a very important role in that sense. I have realized, and I was talking to somebody, I cannot remember right now who I was talking about this, how now I see on the social media how people say, okay, I had this cigar, my pairing was this, and this cigar with this beverage, or this cigar with this coffee, and they refer to the word pairing. And that means that us and other entities also with similar purposes, they are doing something, and the message is being received by people in a positive way. So I think that's important. So over the years that have been changing, I think that also the preference can change from one region or one country or one continent to the other one, depending on the products. Usually, if we talk about Cuba, for us, the natural pairing is cigars or Habanos with rum.
With rum, yeah.
Coffee and chocolate, because those are products that we have in Cuba. Chocolate. I want to talk about chocolate because chocolate is a very nice product. Can be a gourmet product too, and it can play a very important role in pairings, and it's something very nice to taste. And we don't have to think of this chocolate full of nuts or milk or sugar. We talk about dark chocolate, right?
Dark chocolate.
With the low content of sugar, less oily matters, right? And that's important. So I believe that all these, I like to talk about or to mention also in this sense the work of Cigar Sense. I follow Franca Comparetto and all the work that she has with her team because she's very professional, and people, if they listen to what she says and their people that she invites, the guests, people learn a lot, and maybe not, they don't talk about pairings, but they talk about the basis, how to taste a cigar, how to smoke, how to appreciate, and that's the basis then for pairing, because you need to know first very well your cigar, and then you need to know the drinks to be able to combine them in a very harmonious way. I don't know if I answered the question. If not, please let me know and tell me, and then I will.
You're doing
I'm sorry if I'm
amazing. Are
speaking
you
too much.
kidding? We are loving all of that you're giving to us, and everybody's enjoying this. So thank you.
And
Thank you
Melanie's
so
probably
much.
having
Thank
her
you.
champagne because she loves to have her champagne with cigars. That's her favorite
I
pairing.
do. I love champagne with cigars.
I
I've
know.
actually started pairing chocolate with some of my cigars. I went out and got some of those European chocolates, and
They were
I had a great
excellent.
morning. Yeah.
Very good.
Chocolate and
It's
cigars in
very
the
nice.
morning.
It's very nice.
So Danays, like Jose was asking you, that if the day that we have the opportunity to meet in person, that I look forward to, what cigar of choice are you imagining that we can enjoy with one another, and which pairings, which do you feel that we would be able to embrace with one another?
Okay, Cynthia, I wouldn't want to be a rude guest of yours, and if you invite me to
the
I'm sorry,
Dominican.
if you invite me to a cigar and to a wine, that would be lovely. Now, if you insist on me telling you what would I like to share with you,
Yes.
I could just I would love to share one Sperlinga, one of our cigars, and once
Okay.
they're ready,
Okay. I look forward to that as well. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I would love to do that. Of course, maybe the solution is that we have to meet twice, once for your invitation and once for mine.
That's
That
what
way
I
we do
think.
not.
And perhaps that could be in the Dominican Republic, as I know that my brother Carlos and I are looking forward to the day that you'll be able to visit us in Santiago, and to be able to see the foundation and the farm and the factory and all. Right, Calito?
Thank That's very nice. That's very nice. So, and if it is like this, it's not going to be a long time, because I'm traveling to Dominican the 9th, so of November. So I will be there a few months.
Beautiful.
That's going to be soon for you and Calito. Calito, write that down.
I have it already engraved in my mind.
Oh, that's fabulous. Well, good. Okay, so then y'all can enjoy. Y'all can enjoy together until our visit. Absolutely. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Jeremiah, can you give us a little bit of input? Because I know how much you, more than anybody, loves your pairings, loves your wonderful dinners, loves your cigars, loves your wines. Could you please, like?
You really want to be exposing all of my vices on public television?
No, but it's just like I remember. Okay, I know. Remembering going back to your father and my father, they loved their scotch and their cigars together. But when we're together, we always enjoy wonderful wines with our dinner.
No, you're absolutely right.
And so maybe you can. Yes.
Well, I'd love to learn a little bit more from Danays. I love wine, and everybody knows I love wine very much. Carlito asked a really good question about the wine, Danays, and I'd like to hear a little bit more about that. I find it particularly very enjoyable, but very, very difficult to be pairing cigars and wines. Even though I do it, I find that often I'm either tinting a little bit the wine, or I'm tinting a little bit the cigars, and I haven't been able to find the absolute blissful balance between the two. What is your thought on that?
So, for us, pairing wine is the most difficult thing. From all the pairings, it's the more controversial and the most difficult one, because there are so many cigars and so many wines and types of wines, and it's very difficult to find the right combination. in that sense, I would go just with general guidelines, because knowing what you have or what you like, maybe you can find something. One of the things that we always recommend when it comes to wine is, for instance, red wine would be the best option. White wines might not be so up to a cigar, depending. There are some white wines that can be, but it's more difficult. But red wines, but one thing which is very important in red wines is that the red wine has to, if it is what we say aged wine, the tannins, they have to be already round up. They have to be balanced, because if you have a wine which is very tannic, so you are adding to your palate, just you're drying your palate, and then you're smoking, so you are abusing your palate. So you need a wine which is robust enough, with tannins, which is powerful enough to be paired with a cigar, but without abusing your palate in the sense of astringency or the bitterness of some young tannins, which is something or something not desirable, right? I don't know if you agree with me with that. If you have that, sometimes we have a wine which is very tannic, and then we smoke, and then we are just over saturating and over drying our palate, because the effect of one tannins, and cigars, they also have tannins, so it's not pleasant, right? So let's go for something. I'm not talking about young wine. I'm talking about a good wine with body and tannins, but balanced
Yeah,
and elegant tannins, not something harsh.
I agree with you, Dennis. I think
The
there's
mouth is going to be very unpleasant.
I agree. I agree. I think there's four main guidelines which I like to use when pairing my wines with cigars. The first, I agree, is the tannins. The second is the alcohol content. I think that
Of course.
when the alcohol is not canalized properly, it's giving some anesthesia to the palates, and unfortunately, it's covering up some of the notes of the cigars in a way which is not necessary. The third, I find, is the usage of wood. I find that wines where wood is coming out too pronounced compared to the fruit is often also disguising some of the notes on the wines. I know that in many parts of the world, wood is used in different ways. And something we have to be,
Yes.
in my opinion, it needs to be very, very carefully used, especially when pairing with cigars. And then, of course, the acidity of the wine, I think, is extremely important. The way that the acidity comes and cleans the palate will also give a different dimension to the cigar that you're smoking. Some of the wines have a very crisp, well worked acidity, which is coming in at the right moment, and it's giving a very interesting experience with the cigars. In the same way that you could use water, the vinification can do the same job almost in terms of cleaning the palate.
Yes.
So it's but it's tough.
It's
I mean,
true.
it's very difficult. I think that every country has
difficult.
wines very, very complicated. I mean, I think probably one of the most complex forms of beverages is the production and the assembly of wines, in the same respect as cigars. And when you take two of the most complex products on the planet, and you try to construct them, yet alone pair them, it becomes very challenging.
It is very challenging, and it's true. Wood has to be taken into consideration too, for sure. It's very important. Though some red wines with wood, the thing from my perspective, the thing with wine is that all has to be well integrated. The wood, the tannins, it has to be a balanced wine, because if you feel the alcohol, like what we say, alcoholic wine, something is not right. So it's not balanced. So in a wine, to be able to provide a very nice experience with a cigar, has to be a very well balanced wine in this case, where the wood does not go higher than the fruits or the spices, and the alcohol all has to be very well integrated.
Is there a particular cigar that you find is more appropriate to pairing with cigars?
Well, we think that Shiraz can be interesting for cigars because of the notes that you can find, let's say from Australia, the New World, right? Always taking into consideration that the tannins are already, balanced, not so aggressive, so young. Carmenere is another grape which is very interesting. Of course, Cabernet Sauvignon can be, depending on how is the wine, how long has been aged, and how integrated is all that. Otherwise, can be overpowering, right? And could be very dry, and the mouthfeel can be not very. There might be other ones too, depending on the cigar. But well, this could be 3 examples of grapes that I consider that might go very well if the right wine, of course, and the wine is the appropriate one, and the way have been produced and aged and all that can go with cigars. I don't know if you agree. Do you have?
Listen, I agree with you very much. I mean, you're extremely knowledgeable, and I'm sitting back and listening to what you're saying and learning a lot from you, Danays. But right now, don't go anywhere, because we have somebody we're going to bring on the show, and it's the one and only Rich Myberg. Rich, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Hello, Danays.
Hello, Rick. How are you?
Being the oldest guy here, Juanito, you remember back when Burns had the dessert room upstairs, and you could go up there and have dessert and smoke a cigar. And my pairing up there used to be, after a full rich meal with beef and a heavy Cabernet Sauvignon, to upstairs, I'd light up a Don Carlos with some Calvados, apple brandy, and that was a very good pairing for me after a big meal.
Excellent.
But in the old days, you could sit in a restaurant and smoke a cigar. So you might start your meal with an aperitif, a Lillet, or a Campari and soda, something to stimulate the palate, and then go on to your salad, your main course, etc. And if you were smoking, I might change cigars going through the meal a little bit, only because of the change in the meal itself. Right now, I'm drinking a little Montepulciano from 2015. That's going to go outside with me as soon as the show's over, and smoke a beautiful cigar with that. I think, Jeremiah, you should tell everyone where we're broadcast out of, and that the request is that I tell a joke that is a bit off color, since we have so many young ladies with us today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this show is being broadcasted out of Basel, Switzerland. Now, Rich,
all right,
keep it tight today. We got a lot of ladies on the show.
Oh, I know, but it's too late now. I picked one out. So I've got a couple of friends I ran into, some high school chums, hadn't seen them in a while, and they're sitting having a drink, and I walked over, and they were in the middle of a discussion. They were both married, and they're both approaching their wedding anniversaries. And the first guy, who had done extremely well after school, made himself a bundle of money. And he said, yeah, I'm going to get my wife a beautiful diamond watch and a Mercedes Benz. And the guy says, what do you mean? You're buying her 2 gifts for your anniversary? He said, yes. He says, why is that? He says, if she doesn't like the diamond watch, she'll have the Mercedes to drive it to the store to return it. And he says, what are you doing for your anniversary? He says, I'm going to do two things too. He says, what are you going to do? I'm going to buy her a new pair of slippers and a dildo. He says, wait a minute. What's the story there with the slippers and the dildo? He says, well, if she doesn't like the slippers, she can go screw herself. Boom, boom.
Oh my goodness!
Again.
This is where we go. This is where we all go like this with.
I'm just asked to tell the jokes.
No, that was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rich. Love you, bro.
All right, take care, guys.
All right, love you, guys.
All right, Professor.
Danays, I think it was our good friend Arlene Beckton that asked for the women in the industry that are starting to smoke, that are looking to go into pairings to really learn a little bit more. Briefly, what are the 2 or 3 things that you can tell the women and a lot of men that are hearing the show today that they could really look forward to start, let's say, as aprendiz, somebody who's starting to smoke, who's only been smoking 3 or 4 years, what to look forward to cigars and pairings?
In terms of where to find information, or some advice?
Some advice as women who want to get to become sommeliers, they want to know more about cigars, they want to be just updated with things. What are the 2 or 3 things that you could say they could look for?
Well, first of all, to keep their eyes and ears open to all the information that surrounds them, because this is a very important moment. The world is going through a very difficult situation with all this COVID-19, but for us, the silver lining, as I like to say, of all this has been how we are connected, or how we have been able to connect with each other and to unite this community. And everywhere you go, everywhere you listen something, somebody is giving information, and somebody is giving very valuable information, like it is this show, like it is many other ones. I have my small smoke and talk on Instagram, precisely for, in a very relaxed way, to give a lot of information about how to enjoy these cigars, how to pair cigars, how to know more about the industry and the people behind all this hard work that it's just it becomes this. And that's one thing. There is so much information available for them. Of course, there are courses like we have in the International Association of Cigar Sommeliers. And I think that I just said before that it's important to consider the center of this enjoyment, the center of this experience that we're going to live, the cigar, and then try to know more about drinks and to try to experiment. They can sit to get one day with the cigar and just say, okay, I will try this drink. I will always have my water. I will introduce a coffee, because we give guidelines, but every person have an own and unique experience. So I do not perceive the things like other people. So each of us have to experiment and have to try different things to know themselves, how their bodies, how their taste buds perceive the tastes, and how their olfaction system works, and decide, okay, I prefer this and this is what I like, or I prefer this other one. So I don't know, because there are so many things that I could say, or I already have said in very brief guidelines, how to make pairings, to consider new products, and to open themselves to new experiences. Not to say, okay, I only like bourbon, or I only like scotch. Try different things. Try rum. Try maybe a cocktail if you like. In the case of cocktails, I have my opinion about that. I would never recommend very cold cocktails, because always very low temperatures can numb your taste buds. So you will not be able to, the perception will be diminished, the perception of the taste buds. So I never recommend very cold drinks. But if at some point you need it because you need to refresh your palate, okay, have just a sparkling water. chilly, not so cold, things like that. I don't know if the other thing that I can just say is that whoever wants to reach me, whoever wants to write, ask me a question, I'm available. I may take a couple of days to answer because sometimes a lot of people write, and
Good. That's
the
good.
social media is a full-time job, it's a full-time job.
It
So
is.
it
That's
takes
another
a lot
job
of
within
time.
itself.
It is. So you yourself, Jose, you are a person who's available to everybody. You are so kind. You are so knowledgeable. So there are a lot of people, so they can reach and they can just
Danays,
follow
don't
information.
give too many compliments to the professor because his head is big enough as it is.
Ah, we love you, Professor. You know that.
Jose is a wonderful human being. It's a
I agree.
wonderful
We
human
all
being.
agree.
You all are, of course, but now we're talking
No, it's
about him.
true. Well, you
All
and
of you
Jose
is
go
a
a long,
very
back a long
unique.
way.
This is wonderful.
You know, the funny thing about this, it's she's open to help the same way Jeremiah, myself, Cynthia. We love, sharing the knowledge we have. And I've always said that I've said it on different programs, and I've talked to Carlito and Jeremiah. I can name 30 or 40 people that know more about cigars and tobacco than I do. The problem is they will die and take their secrets to the tomb. With me, Carlito, Jeremiah, Cynthia, whatever we know, whatever knowledge we have, we want to share it because we want consumers to be better consumers, retailers to be better retailers, distributors to be better distributors. And if you do not share your knowledge, I mean, what do you have that knowledge for? So, Danays, you've done an amazing job sharing your knowledge, your passion,
Agree.
and I mean, I congratulate you on that. And anytime that you've called me, I know I'm there, and I'll try to help as much as possible. And we need more people like you to go
I
out there
agree
and share your
100%.
experience.
I agree. I'd like to add also that,
Very true.
I just want to say wholeheartedly thank you, Danays, for your great contribution to the world of cigars, to that sacred leaf that we all love. It's Hoja Sagrada. Thank you so much. And, not only the education and knowledge that you spread, but also the love that you share with the world. And there's something special for me, that when I see a lady that knows a lot more than I do about cigars, and it's very special when I see so many beautiful women and women of all ages, of all walks of life, coming into the world of cigars, something that existed, decades and decades and generations ago, but it was always kept quiet. It was always in the closet. But behind every great cigar maker, all of them, all the ones that I've ever known, there was always this great woman that was backing them up. And we know Benjamin Menendez with Margarita, and it goes on and on and on with all of us. And my grandmother, my grandfather, my mother, my father. But there is something very special when a woman has taken leadership and it's really spreading the love. And that's the way I like to refer to it, spreading the love, giving kindness and goodness to the world through your education, bringing people together to be able to enjoy, to learn how to enjoy one of the simplest pleasures of life that Papa Dios left on this earth for us, is a fine cigar. But not only the cigar, the smoke that embraces all of us together as one community, as you mentioned many times. I never met you, but I've learned to love you, respect you, admire you. And I am your alumno. From here on, I am a student of Danays Leon.
Thank you so much. That's very nice. Thank you so much. I really feel very honored, and I just said it like this, humble, because I'm just a person who likes to do things, to do what I feel. And it's very hard for me to do something that I do not feel, or to say something I don't feel. So I do this because I like it, because I love it. And just having people like you and many other ones just being so kind and so willing, like Cynthia to go to my smoke and talk, and then you, well, first Jose, who has been behind all this also, and I am eternally grateful to him because of that. It makes me feel very, it makes me feel very, or feel a great responsibility, because sometimes people think that just being on the spot or being, on the social media is just a matter of a picture or something. And when you do something like this, you are responsible for what you do, because you have people just looking at you, paying attention to you. And I feel responsible for every word that comes out of my mouth and for every word that I write. I may make mistakes like any human, of course, but I think it's very important. And I love this community. It's something amazing, and it's very, very rewarding to see how more people, young smokers, women, young women on Instagram, they start putting these things with parents, and they want to learn, and they just listen to the show, and they ask questions, because I receive questions from people.
Yes.
That's very important. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You've been an inspiration, and you're showing so many people your love and passion for cigars and for all your pairings. And this is what you're doing in Smoke and Talk. And I personally try to tune in every Wednesday on Instagram. So for everybody out there, please tune in, because there's so much knowledge that you're sharing. And I believe that that's your gift to everybody. And we all appreciate it, because like every day, this love of the leaf, we can learn something. And with whatever pairing it may be, we can continue to learn. And that's the beauty of the industry. So we thank you for being a part of this show. And I really do look forward to the day that we can share in person, all of us. But everybody today, and I know you feel the love. I know you feel the love, Danays, because everybody is feeding, and we're so grateful to have you as part of today. Beautiful.
Thank you so much. It's I feel very honored, honestly.
And I
Thank
look
you.
forward to smoking your cigar. When do you plan to bring it out into the market?
Well, that's precisely what we're going to Dominican Republic.
Okay,
So
okay, all right, very
that
good.
one can be soon. Let's see what we can do. Everything has been delayed because of the COVID, but
Of course,
now we
of
have
course.
decided that we go no matter what.
Okay. If I can mention, because of the situation this year that we face, has also given us an opportunity for everybody to meet one another and to be able to become closer in every which way that we can. And like I have mentioned before, that this isn't about social distancing. This is about staying connected. It's physical distance, but this show has been such a tool. And like your show, Smoke and Talk, and Meet the Professors, and all of the podcasts out there have been such a tool so that we can all stay together, connected. And so we're very, very grateful for that part of it. That's for sure. Because it definitely has been an interesting year. I think when Jeremiah had the first thought of the show in March, he thought maybe we'll do this for a few weeks or so. So now we're in November. We're still going strong.
Yes,
Stronger than
indeed,
ever.
you are.
Exactly.
Yes, you are. And sometimes, let me tell you that sometimes for me, it's amazing how people that can be so busy like you just make the time, take the time to do this,
Oh,
because
it's what we
it takes
love so much.
only because of love and passion you can do this.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's not
Exactly.
possible.
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah,
I
especially,
agree.
especially when it's 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock Eastern time, and you're missing your lunch. So it's all Jose's fault. The professor. I have 3 dinners now. I don't think that's very good. I have one after the show, one 3 hours later, and one before going to sleep. 3 dinners. That's what the pandemic has done.
And Jose and Jeremiah have gotten up at 2 o'clock and 3 a.m. their
Many
time
times.
to be on Cigar Dojo and to be on William Coop. So
Many
we don't
times.
even have a time frame anymore. It's just we do whatever it is. That's for sure. And Melanie has so many different podcasts going on too that she's like, morning and night. There's if you can go on the internet at any time of the day, and there can be 2 or 3 podcasts going on at one time, late at night, earlier. So
You know
I
what? I have a concern though. They say that where's it at? I lost it. Oh, here.
what?
They say these are addicting, all right? And I get accused of, I already got all kind of arthritis or all symptoms.
Oh God, I think that all that can.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But wait a minute. What's going to happen when we have to go back to work, like really going back to the factory, this and that, and all these podcasts, everything are going on? How are we going to be able to work? We got to figure out something that we could put, like automatically that we could see with like eyeglasses. You can see the program. You can continue to work and still be involved with everything, because we're getting addicted to all these programs because we love people. We love people, and this is the way we all stay connected. It's amazing. I really agree. Through siempre dicen, there's always something that through difficult moments, something always glorious is born or rises. And I think our community has come together, and we've been able to stay embraced and to do the things and everything. And this is wonderful. When Jeremiah told me about this idea and everything, I said, there's no way, Jeremiah, you're crazy. But I've gotten so involved. I learned so much. I actually got my first laptop in my entire life. It was sent from my headquarters in Tampa, so they could see me once in a while, because everybody, where's Carlito? Where's Carlito? They don't know where he's at. Now I get a call and I say, you better turn your Teams on. You got a meeting coming up. So there's nowhere to hide. But I love every second of it.
That's true.
Well, and thank God you got somebody that reminds you all the time about the links and everything. If it weren't for Melanie.
Yeah, Melanie keeps me informed, but you're my timekeeper. You're the one that told me. I said, where's everybody at? Where's everybody at? And I really, because of Danays, I said, I'm going to be early for the first time. And I got on, and I was.
Because you're a gentleman.
Everybody else. They changed the time in the U.S. And I forgot Dominican Republic doesn't change the time. So I'm looking at my phone, and I was an hour early. First time ever. So you lost a bet this week.
Good.
And
May I ask a question to Danays? I like to ask a question.
Sure.
That, like we were talking earlier, that women have always been a part of this industry, and going back to like since I was born or my mother's time or what have you. And so like there's different generations. So there's a whole new generation now that we're seeing where women can express themselves, and they're involved in the cigar and in the passion for the leaf. You being a woman of grace and elegance and knowledge, what could you, if you have like an advice to give the younger generation? Because there's so many wonderful women out there, and I'm so grateful to see this expression of the ladies, smoking the cigars and learning about the cigars. But because I feel that you just exude grace and elegance, and you exude knowledge, and you really, everybody can clearly see how you truly love, the cigars and everything that goes with it and the lifestyle. Could you think of something that you could give to to this whole new world that we're seeing of the women that are part of it? I would love to have your input on that. I think that they can learn a lot. Okay.
I just think that whoever, women or men, whoever decides to get into this world has to be because it feels it, because it's really a passion, because really loves it. Otherwise, it makes no sense just to use this for any other purposes. You have to love what you do, and you have to put all your heart to what you do. And for me, I always continuous education and knowledge is very important. So if they can learn more of what they're doing, if they can learn more about the smoking and how to do it, because they will realize that at the end their experience is going to be enhanced, it's going to be taken to a higher level. And the other thing is that because there are a lot of forums in which it's discussed these things about women, men, and all that, I believe that respect is very important in this, because sometimes this can be confused with other things, And respect for me is the basis for long-term relationships, is the base for doing things good, and to have good results, to be able to keep people close to you and to attract good people to you. So just love and passion for what you do, and respect for the rest of the people, I think, is essential in this. I don't know if I probably after I finish, a lot of things will come to my mind. That's all. That was just think of it. But I always talk about that. I think it respect and knowledge is very important, and passion. Those are very essential things in this.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from the one and only Danays Leon. Danays, thank you very, very much. It was a spectacular show. You were an amazing guest. We're very proud and honored to have you on the show today. And I think not only ourselves, but everybody out there learned a lot, a very, very, very lot. And we're very grateful. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
No, thank you. Thank you all for inviting me. Thank you all for having me here. It's a great honor. And what can I say? Just for me, it has been, I said it at the beginning, I'm always on the other side, just giving hearts and likes and comments. And now I'm here. So I hope it has been valuable for the friends, just to know few things, because of what I just said has been just few guidelines. Whoever is interested in knowing more, we have, as Jose mentioned, and Cynthia, we have this little space on Instagram, but we have the association. I'm available to people, whoever wants to ask me anything or needs anything. So just one thing, just about what Cynthia said, is just for the new generations, it's important to look up to the older generations, to whoever has been here before. They have a lot to say, and we have, or they have, in the case of the new generations, they have a lot to learn from them. So I think it's important just that.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Melanie, please let everybody know out there how to be able to find Danays and all the beautiful hearts and messages and beautiful things that everybody's been throwing on the chat for Danays today. How can people go back and look at it?
Hey guys, so guess what? You can go to our Facebook page and be able to find, it's Facebook.com/The Professor Show. Go there and hit that like button, and then also share it with your friends. Your friends will thank you for that, I promise. Then be sure to go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. And I believe that Jeremiah is going to put up our link right below. You're going to be able to see that, and it's going to say tinyurl.com/The Professor Show. And you can find that and subscribe to that, and then you can be able to be notified every time that we go live. And it's excellent. Also, just be sure, word of mouth is fabulous. And then be sure to tune in next week for another episode, a great episode of the Meet the Professor Show at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time, guys, for the next 6 months.
All right. Thank you, Melanie. Professor, who's on next week?
Well, first of all, to wrap this up, I think that Danays indirectly invited you to be on the show. I don't know if you want to be on her show, so we'll coordinate that with her. And I think that she will be more than happy to have you on her show on Instagram that has a big following. So we'll coordinate that for the next couple of weeks. And next week, we're going to have a treat. We're going to have a person very close to all of us here, person that's been a longtime friend of mine, one of the most respectable journalists / bloggers in the industry, a guy that Cynthia Fuente really adores, and also Carlito and Jeremiah had a 3-hour marathon on him. Mr. William Cooper, Cigar Cooper, is going to be on the show next week. So Tune in next week. That's going to be an amazing show with cigar poop.
That is
That's gonna be phenomenal.
fantastic. Oh, that's going to be wonderful.
I can't wait.
Very good.
All right,
Another
ladies.
good friend that we've met this year because of this situation that we're in.
And be
but
sure
we've
to
had the
tune in at 4
opportunity to
p.m.
meet so
today
many people.
for the Casa Cuba's
Casa Cuba Sunday
virtual.
I'll be there. I'll
with
be there.
Michi and Calito and I are joining in. Casa Cuba Sunday, 4 p.m. Thank you, Melanie.
I
Good.
think I might be able to get into this.
Okay, before we get kicked off Facebook here, ladies and gentlemen, another wonderful episode of Fuente and Meerapfel present Meet the Professor.
Thank you, Danays, for
with
showing up today. You were
Danays
beautiful.
Leon.
That
Thank
was
you very
amazing
much.
information for us to be able to learn. I know that all of the people watching absolutely enjoyed it completely, and I'm definitely going to be filling your inbox up with lots of questions.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Make sure to tune in next Sunday, same time, same place. In the meantime, take care of yourselves and of others. And remember, if you don't do it with passion, don't do
Don't
it
do
at
it
all.
at all.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye for now. Oh,
Bye.
Jeremiah, I
Thank you.
love you. Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.
Thank
for
you
the
very much.
Beautiful, beautiful Sunday. We love you all. Okay,
Thank
one
you.
of these days, us
Thank
three
you.
ladies have to get together as well, and then all of us. I look forward to it. Beautiful. One big family.
God bless. All of
Good
you.
night. Good night.
Stay well.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank
Good
you.
night,
Thank you
everybody.
again
Thank
for
you.
giving us your time. We really loved it. Okay.
Incredible show.
Thank you. Thank you.